Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to open up the meeting, the International Economic Development. And Ms. Grant, we'd like to start it out from last year.
Go ahead and get started with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Can you see my screen if I present the share the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you able to see now? I apologize for not being there today. The flu has taken its toll on my house. And I will apologize in advance as well if I am if I do start coughing in the middle. So I'm Dana Crater. I'm with the I'm the Director for Technical Assistance with the International Economic Development Council. I had the honor of being part of the technical assistance team that visited back in June of 2023. And I'm delighted to be here today to present what our observations were and some of our recommendations were. So as I mentioned, I was part of a panel of 3 of our members. Kelly Hinkle, who was the Deputy Director for St. Mary's County Department of Economic Development in Leonardtown, Maryland. Roxanne Fry, who's the Lead Economic Development Manager for LG&E and KU Energy in Louisville, Kentucky. Walter Sprouse, who is the retired President of the Randolph County Economic Development Corporation in Asheboro, North Carolina. This project is funded through a grant from the U.S. Economic Development Administration's Atlanta Regional Office that IEDC has received to provide technical assistance to communities across North Carolina, parts of Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. And as we discussed for the scope of work for this project is to develop an economic development action plan with a particular focus on the Pelham Industrial Park. So how IEDC's technical assistance program works is we define the scope of work. We do some site visit preparation and we write a background report. We come for 2 to 3 days to meet with stakeholders and at the end of the site visit to present some preliminary recommendations. And then we spend time writing a report, doing case research as well. During our site visit, we had met with the Economic Development Commission, the elected officials, small business and entrepreneurship, tourism and events, the representatives from the agriculture industry, workforce development, regional and state partners, and community inclusion group. So our observations, and I'm sharing these observations that are on behalf of our panel as well as myself. I apologize, our panelists were not able to join me for today's presentation. But we were just really impressed on how friendly, clean, beautiful, quiet, relaxing. You know, as we were driving in, we stayed in Mebane and driving into the county. We were really impressed with our first impressions of Caswell County. And then as we continued to drive through the county, whether we were up at the Pelham Industrial Park, we went over to Milton, really drove around the county, and we're just, you know, you have such a beautiful community and beautiful place to live. And we were really in awe about all the natural assets. There's so much opportunity for outdoor recreation that was pointed out, for agriculture. It was also pointed out to us that the agriculture sector is diversified and continues, and it's got a rich history as well in the community. The panel was very impressed with the entrepreneurial toolbox that is available in the county, and just the different tools for entrepreneurs that want to start a business, how much opportunities, whether it's Co-Square, whether it's the SBC, the Economic Development, the Chamber, the Arts Council, everyone working together, just opportunities there. Excuse me. And also Piedmont Community College, not only their campus in Yanceyville, but also the Center for Education and Agricultural Development, the 3-phase plan that is coming to the Pelham Reach area that is such an asset, and we really were very impressed by that opportunity. Excuse me. You know, one of the things when we looked at opportunities for, I apologize, for economic resilience, you know, we looked at really have a lot of existing assets to build on. You know, one of the things we just thought to really focus on, I apologize, this virus has not been fun, is to really identify what the vision for the county is for an economic development vision and the Pelham Industrial Park. There's really an opportunity for the community, the county, to really gather behind the vision, common vision for both the park and for the county as a whole. As I mentioned, there's a lot of great assets, and it's an opportunity to leverage the quality of life assets. Excuse me one moment.
Just take a break, take your time.
Dan, I'm not sure if you shared your screen. We just can see the little icon with you on it.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I knew you said something about you were gonna have some slides.
And I've been reading my slides.
And I didn't know if you were starting out talking and were waiting to present your slides. I wasn't sure.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. It
No.
doesn't,
That's okay.
let me see if I can figure out why it's not sharing.
It's sharing, but it's only sharing your desktop.
There it is.
you
There we go.
That would be why.
Thank you.
I apologize. So, you know, the other opportunity is really to brand and promote the county, both internally and externally. Just some opportunities there as part of that, plan. And I apologize, you missed my slides. If you want, I can go backwards. But if it's okay if y'all continue moving forward.
That'll be fine.
That's fine.
So some recommendations that the panel developed. We really looked at, we really identified two target industries: agriculture and agriculture technology, and visitor attraction and outdoor recreation. We really think usually with in economic development, usually economic development organizations will focus on 2 to 3, 4 larger communities. Will have sometimes 5 or 6 target industries. But for Caswell County, we found that agriculture and agriculture technology and visitor attraction and outdoor recreation are really the 2 target industries. We recognize there is manufacturing already occurring in the county, and that will continue to be an industry that is part of the county. But in looking to attract agriculture and agriculture technology, the recommendation is to look at visitor attraction and outdoor recreation. And the other option, other area to focus on is entrepreneurship, really leveraging the tools you have and growing from within is a second area to focus on for the county. And I put this slide in, I was looking through Research Triangle International, RTI International. They did recently in 2020, they had done a industry cluster market analysis on the North Carolina Innovation Corridor. But I wanted just to point out the interesting number of ag tech is in North Carolina and agriculture activity. And it is one of the focuses, you know, as I was looking at different pieces, articles recently about ag tech industry, North Carolina really is at the center. And Research Triangle Park has a huge ag tech focus, you know, right next door to the their territory is right next door to Caswell County. So there really is an opportunity to build off that. You have the ag tech certificate associates program that's going to be happening right across the street at the through PCC, through Piedmont Community College. And you also have a bachelor's program in ag tech, agriculture technology, engineering in at NC State just down the road. So there's really an opportunity to really take your roots in agriculture and also kind of look at the ag tech as an opportunity to focus, to expand and grow in the county. So one of the recommendations when we were talking specifically for the Pelham Industrial Park in the area around it, we understand there is no zoning up there, but one of the tools that can be used is branding and designating the corridor as an ag innovation corridor. Is an opportunity. First, it will actually brand the corridor for as a marketing tool to grow attention, that this is the types of types of businesses you're looking for. This is where you have assets. This is to an external audience as a way of attracting new development into the industrial park. Another part of it is also, it helps the community kind of say, this is what we want in this area. So that would include the center for seed and include the industrial park. And you would have to designate what those boundaries are that you'd want for the corridor, but it kind of would help drive some, it's a tool to drive attention to an external market and an internal market. One of the thoughts we had was to rebrand the industrial park to a business park, kind of broadening out the opportunities for the industrial parks, especially since you have the Yanceyville Industrial Park, which has available space there. So kind of changing it slightly and shifting the focus. Another recommendation was to option the land surrounding the park around the ag innovation corridor. This is something you would have to work with the county's attorney, but that is an option so that if the land were to change ownership, the county would have first option to see if they want to option the land to be part of the, if you had interest in growing the corridor, growing the industrial park, the business park area, that would be, it would provide the county some different options. One of the items that we saw when we were driving around the site is that the site, we went in and our little van started to get caught in the park. And so one of the things we were suggesting is to pave a road entrance, add gateway signage, clear and prepare a site. So kind of looking at a site and being able to see, so that when someone comes in, a business comes in, they're able to see what that site would be. We've seen some communities go as far as not only clear the site just down to either dirt or grass, but they've also done virtual spec buildings that have already been permitted, so that it kind of gives a business that's looking to turn around quickly the opportunity to have the site ready for faster turnaround for a business to come onto the site. So that is, there was one of our recommendations, was really to get a pad, not all 70 acres necessarily, but have at least a pad cleared and ready for future development. One of the suggestions that I was talking with a gentleman in North Carolina who's done a lot of work, and he had recommended, so there's a tool called tax increment financing that is used in as a frequent economic development tool, used in a lot of other states more frequently. It's not used very often in North Carolina. We've seen it being used as a synthetic TIF tax increment finance district without going through the full tax increment financing. From my understanding, at the moment, there is no tax increment finance districts currently in the state of North Carolina, even though it is a tool that is allowed. But when I was talking with him, he suggested that we look at the Johnson County economic development and training districts. And apparently it's a tool that counties can use that can, that kind of was put together in 2003 by the North Carolina state legislature. And they had made it available for counties, and it includes workforce development, which you would have some of that over at the seed already. And you would have, being able to use it as an economic development tool for different opportunities for the area. It'd be something that I would recommend if this is an idea that you want to pursue, talking with the county attorney, as well as look at the legislature, the legislation and how it's been set up, and look at what the opportunities are that may be a possibility for the Pelham area. Another recommendation was to pursue getting the site certified. The certification tells prospective businesses or developers that the county has brought in a third party that has validated that all this information is accurate, and that this is a site that's ready for development. One of the things we found when we were there, we were looking on the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina site search. And we found that some of the information was out of date about properties that were available and who to contact for Caswell County on the state economic development website. So that was one of our other recommendations, was to focus on making sure that's updated and checking that on a regular basis, because site selectors do use that information, and EDPNT does use the information to promote promote different sites as well. Other ideas we had regarding the Pelham, we understood that the industrial park's been around for 30 years, was to really do an analysis on other projects that may have been considered the site, but were lost. They didn't go into the Pelham industrial site. Where did the projects go? What factors caused the project to go elsewhere? And look to see if there were issues that could be addressed. We also suggested a marketing piece as well, just to really have a piece that can be provided to really to promote the site externally. When we looked at entrepreneurship, you have a lot of tools for entrepreneurship. And even the working with the ag extension is another. You have from the ag extension, from CoSquare, from the SBC, that you have the community college. You have all these different tools that are available. One thing I would point out is, if I was coming from the outside looking in, is how do I start a business? I don't always know to go to the small business. I know because of what I do to go to the small business center, but if my neighbor wanted to go start a business, they wouldn't necessarily know to go to the small business center. So really getting information out on where all the resources are, and really putting together, I suggest putting together a process that is easy to find online on how to start a business. We've seen some of the towns and counties around North Carolina have started to put together either kind of a workbook or guide, or they at least put the order and who to contact. Another thing is to look at how to scale home-based businesses, farms, and other. You have the incubators, graduates that are going to be coming out of in a few years from the seed, looking at really how to scale those businesses and how to grow. A lot of people have picked up side gigs and have home-based businesses that they just need, that little push to sometimes move them from out of their garage, out of their living room, and into a space, whether it's in downtown, in the Yanceyville Square, if it's in Milton, or if it's in another part of the county. Really looking at how to do that. One of the other recommendations we had was to really create an external site that really tells who are the small business owners, who are the entrepreneurs in Caswell County. So we've seen some communities will have their own site that sits and tells the stories of the different entrepreneurs. Some have done social media accounts, but it's really an opportunity to tell the story of Caswell County, tell the story of the businesses in Caswell County. Sorry, and really, push, help share all the great businesses that are going on there. And because sometimes seeing a story and seeing the process and, there's people that may have an interest in a neighboring county that just don't know. But when they see that network, they see who their peers are, they can start to see themselves as part of that entrepreneurial community. So that was another suggestion, recommendation we had for embracing entrepreneurs. One of the suggestions we had for the visitor attraction and outdoor recreation, you guys are blessed just over the Virginia state line. You have the VIR and you have the Caesars Casino. Those are great you may get some day traffic, you may get occasional Airbnb. We heard there's some Airbnbs over by the lake, but you're really set up right now as a place to get day trippers and looking at all your inventory, all your assets. Understand what the visitor attraction, outdoor recreation assets are, what the ag assets are. The commercial industrial assets would fall under the Pelham research. But one of the things I also put in the report is really thinking of different types of people, different types of profiles that would be coming to Caswell County. When we were there, we heard about history, we heard about art, we heard about outdoor recreation, we heard about the golf course. So we heard about all these different types of people. And so really looking at those different and create profiles and think about what would attract those different tourists to come. Your location really gives you the opportunity to pull a lot of people that would make a day trip or an overnight trip, looking for things within an hour or 5 hours of driving. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to really leverage your assets and really start to build that visitor attraction from within a few hours drive that may come for a day or two to visit or come in and out and really try to capture some of those people. Another thing we found out is really creating community events on Main Street, Milton, and Yanceyville to really drive foot traffic. We hear when there's events going on, such as the farmers market in Yanceyville, they do see the businesses in the Yanceyville Square do see some uptick. When there's the holiday programs and the hoedown, they see some uptick. But really creating some of those off season and each season to really drive people in, whether it's a movie in the square, if it's we've seen soup walks, we've seen people, businesses sponsor. There's a town in Alabama that puts businesses sponsor miniature golf holes, and they put little putt-putt holes around their downtown area, and businesses and the community comes because it's fun to go play putt-putt around the downtown. It gives something to do in the summer months. It's an extra attraction. So looking at some opportunities to really grab people. We've seen coffee in cars, bringing the old historic cars. There's the Jeep meetups with the bags, and they sell bags of ducks to put on for the Jeep meetups. There's all sorts of fun activities that can really get the community together. As you're sitting in the library, we've even seen a library do a scavenger hunt around town to get families to come out. And I believe that's my last slide. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if there's any questions I can answer. Sorry, I threw a lot at you.
Dana, will you be sending this slide to me and then I can forward it on to Carla, our clerk to the board, and she can send that out along with the report that you had sent. I have that, so I can attach that, but this slide as well, but they may would like to have a copy of all that so they can have time to go back and review it.
Yes.
Dana, this is Tim Yarbrough. When you were here back in June,
I believe that your group made the statement about the casino that we probably wouldn't see any great economic effects. Am I right?
Our comments was focused on, we don't think that the industrial park would be the prime location to really look for the hotel. From what we heard from the casino manager that spoke with us, most of the high rollers, they're gonna try to keep at the casino. So you would get some of the day trip people, but the county would benefit with the connection with the seed and the activity there, you would have better opportunity to focus on looking at ag tech, looking at some of the more potential higher income jobs for the county.
I noticed in one of your interviews, and you're talking, you said that we need to have the site ready to go when we get going to show it. Is there any grant money out there that we can get to help with this?
I'm sorry.
The chairman was asking if there's any like seed money or grant money to clear some of those lots or do some prep work.
And I know we've been talking about that, if there's some out there that we can go for.
We have been talking about it. We were talking about it an hour ago too. I'm gonna talk to some connections that I have to see if there may be some more opportunities. I provided Melissa and Tony with some different partners to reach out to in the state and that may be able to advise on some opportunities. I know that there wasn't, Golden Leaf had their opportunity open. I don't know if it's still open currently. They do I believe it's every year, but don't hold me to that. But Golden Leaf Foundation would be an example that there may be some grant opportunities.
Anybody else have any questions?
Could you elaborate on the economic development corridor you mentioned?
Sure. So the recommendation is to create we understand that area, that part of the county has voted against zoning. But looking at a way to really brand the corridor, looking at the road that both the Seed and the Pelham Industrial Park are off of, you would have the county would have to decide what the exact borders would be, but it's a tool to say, we're really looking to market this as a ag innovation corridor or ag tech corridor. We really are looking to try to get ag tech businesses into this area. And sometimes you'll see support with special incentives that go connected with that. So it's kind of a tool. For instance, we've seen that it's one of the things we had, I lived years ago in an arts district, would be another example of a way to think of it, where the city had designated 6 blocks, 8 blocks as an arts district. We've seen it in the state of Maryland had different towns that were like, they would designate a set of blocks. Some towns as small as 2,000, 3,000 people. But they would designate these blocks and art businesses that would locate into there would get sometimes a incentive or a benefit, and there'd be additional services that would be given to any business related to the arts that are located in that area. Similar with this would be an ag innovation, ag tech. It would be used as a tool to try to attract agriculture and innovation ag tech businesses. You can leverage the seed and the ag tech associates program across the street from the Pelham Industrial Park. It would be, there would be the potential if you wanted to add an incentive or something to try to encourage a business that may be considering the area to locate in that location. But it's a tool to kind of say, this is the type of businesses we want in this area. These are the different services, we really are focusing our marketing this area as having this focus.
And we're seeing increased traffic down Highway 86 headed towards Danville. Do you think we should pursue extending water and sewer lines beyond the town limits to pursue home developments? Is that economic development in your mind?
Do you think there'll be developments from businesses like, if you're seeing like service stations and that sort? Are you looking at it from workforce housing, trying to see
Workforce
more
housing
business?
primarily, workforce housing. Mhm.
Workforce housing?
And some retail.
And that may be an opportunity to pursue for that area. If I would look to see what the possibility of workforce housing, I know some communities will do a housing study to determine what type of housing is needed, and then determine the water and sewer needs from that direction. If there, I wouldn't necessarily. I would look to see what type of workforce housing is needed. Because there may be opportunities.
It could be developers, because I know around Danville, Axton area, they've got large developments going in housing complexes. So you may have a major investor come along that wants to develop a farm, and we'll need water and sewer to do that.
And you can look and make this there. I'm not an expert in public policy, but there may be an opportunity to look at. We know some communities will do, we'll keep it, we'll extend water and sewer and prepare an area for work, but they'll zone it for workforce housing. Knowing that the area doesn't have zoning, you would have to take that into consideration if there would be different sorry, if there would be if there would be anything you want to put in place before to kind of guide, before you put the water and sewer extensions out there, focusing it on, say that this is an area designated for workforce housing or something.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Dana, and I hope you and your family get to feeling better.
Thank you, and I apologize again for not being in person today and not being 100% myself. But I hope that the information we provided is helpful, and if there is something where we can send a volunteer to help with implementation of any of these recommendations or anything to help start off a project, please reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
I'll go real quickly, thank you. If you reset until 6:30.
I'm like, Tony, I didn't agree with. Tony, I didn't agree with a lot of things that Brian said, but one thing he did say, and I've asked some people in the know that when you start looking at just housing, it strangles a county because the services outweigh the expense. If you don't have retail and industry, you can't come out.
Right. What I'm seeing in Calvin Pines is we're getting a lot of growth there from people from California. They're coming in, they're retired people, but they don't require a whole lot of services. They don't have kids are grown. So hopefully we could have something to target those type of people for the county. But you're right, we need water and sewer extending from Yanceville towards Danville to be able to bring in that type of growth. A septic tank and a well just won't do.
Tony, how far south does the Danville water line come down 86?
North
Yes,
of
goes to school.
Yeah. And then the town of Yanceville goes almost to school.
Yeah, it comes up over 86, but there's nothing stop this.
The water line goes to it, but they won't let people tap onto it because that lady that has that, that garden center, where the road forks, she been told she can't tap onto it. She wanted it bad. Why, I don't know, but.
Must have been designated just for school educational purposes. We can put it in.
Yeah,
She can tap on
she could tap on, but I think they had to pay to dig under the road. It's on the opposite side of the road. I don't think it was cost.
Okay, well, she just laid me down, but I was thinking they maybe didn't have the line that.
Just tap.
So anybody out that way in school can get tap on.
Yeah.
They're gonna pay for it, okay.
Now, it's advantageous if it's on their side of the road, but if they have to bore under the road, it's not costly.
That's the same anywhere in the United States like that, they look at.
She came before the board several times and we turned it down. You want the county to put the water on the county expense. I was happy.
Another thing, when she mentioned, the option on adjoining properties, Tony, how much land is left to develop in the actual industrial park?
You talking about Pelham?
Yes, sir.
It would be about 65 acres after the project we're talking about.
Are you familiar with the Booker tract that joins the Pelham Industrial Park?
I've seen it.
Okay. And from what I recall, that tract is close to 150 acres, 200 acres, just on the north side of Highway 700. Or if that may be an option, the board would consider it, maybe to research. I thought that was a good idea.
How does the option work? The county basically gets first crack at the property that changes hands, or?
We could prepare a right of first refusal and they could execute that. I'm not sure what the monetary value that would be, but that's something we could at least look into and see if the landowner would be amenable, open to looking into it.
What I didn't hear from her was anything industrial or anything, I mean, it just seemed to all go to ag tech and tourism. I was disappointed in that.
Kind of the easy solution, because that's what you have already, right? It's,
Yeah, but
do more of this and.
Ag is $103 billion industry in this state. The largest economic driver in the state of North Carolina. We can shun it if we want to. But it's a lot of money there. It went from $90 million about 5 or 6 years ago to 103 last year.
And I think what they were kind of looking at too, when they were doing this, they were kind of feeding off of the seed project. I think that's where a lot of the ag too kind of is coming from, because I don't think they really knew what we wanted to do with the other side.
But I also would say the poorest counties in the state are the biggest ags.
Oh, that's your statement, Finch. I wouldn't agree with you.
Which counties are you referring to that would be? Cause it's sure, I can't. Lake, Mecklenburg and.
Well, Mecklenburg, definitely not, but Eastern Wake has still got a lot of it, a lot. Eastern.
Johnson, when you mentioned 700 a while ago, what do you see that as being possible to do? What?
Oh, Commissioner Green, I think it would just open up more land to be joined with the industrial park. And if you have some type of mega developer that comes along, I'm sure more acreage will be advantageous, but Mr. Smith might be able to allude to that, but I just thought that was an interesting presentation and point on her behalf. But
Yeah, I mean, if, we can spare the interest, we could easily use all the space we have in town, bring in industry and have to look beyond. So I think we need to start looking now at the possibilities, and if there is a possibility we can arrive at a decent price and get an option, an extended option to give us, you know, the option to be able to buy that property in 2 years or whatever, it may be wise. I can start looking around the Pelham Business Park.
Haven't been over on 700 in quite some time, but didn't they have something they started up at one time over there? Some kind of industry or building thing or something?
Got a couple of businesses over there down below the, we've got Norag, I think, bought some property from us several years ago. And then Frito-Lay built a warehouse there 2 years ago, I think. And then SDX Motorsports. And yeah, Randy Weatherford built a racing shop there, so it's got several buildings on it. So it has developed a little bit on the Eden side of the park. So,
I haven't been over there in years, but I knew that it had something.
I agree, this seed project is gonna put us on the map. It's gonna draw a lot of attention. And, if we can be prepared for that by having a site ready, and this is the prospect we're talking to, a site ready, a road, a sign, and a telephone number we can call that I can jump on.
I think we already got water in Providence, right, from the town, right?
along Old 86. Yes, sir.
Extend that across. Possible.
I see a lot of potential going south towards Orange County, because I mean, you're getting so much growth in Orange County, they just, taxes are high, and they would love to be able to go across the county line, but we have no facilities there to be fine. So what's it cost to send that far, and where would it come from? Do we have capacity in the town of Yancey?
Where's the county line from the highway? How far is the county line from the highway?
One highway.
40 or 85, either one of them.
Was 15 miles?
Good. Yeah,
That's pretty good miles, yeah.
interesting. That's more of a ways off that main corridor, and then maybe why it's not currently targeted, but yeah, to incentivize that.
Ideally, if the town of Yancey had enough capacity to put lines to cover water and sewer lines south, that would be the best option. I think when the Wizard's Cauldron was in Yancey years ago, they were a big water and sewer user. And they shut down it, and it left a lot of capacity for the plant. And I don't know that we used a whole lot of that capacity.
It's fine to have the sewer capacity, the water has to turn over and get utilized and. Doesn't help just to build it, not use it.
Mr. Chairman, you want to ask if anybody else has any comments, maybe we can say that. You want to ask if anyone else has any comments, and if not, take it.
Who else have more comments?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.